Do you remember all the old VHS tapes and cassette videos stored in the closet at your childhood home? All that video camera footage your family used to take at birthdays, get-togethers, and weddings? The tapes that used to just sit there, gathering dust, completely forgotten until some house cleaning or nostalgia brought them back. Imagine taking one out, putting it in the VCR, and sitting down to watch. The experience warms cold memories, and faces you'd forgotten used to be so young pass by on the screen. Suddenly, you catch a glimpse of something off and reach for the remote. You stop the tape, rewind back, and look closer as the tape plays again. On the second run-through, you catch it. There, in the background, there's something in the woods, watching the people. And you know there shouldn't be. MarbleHornets is the internet's first web series exploring exactly that premise. Long-forgotten videos contain footage of things that shouldn't exist, and events you know never happened. The more tapes you watch, the more you catch it. Something strange in the background, always just out of direct view, appearing over and over again. What happens when footage of events in your life you thought you knew brings you face to face with the impossible? Anyone who's heard of MarbleHornets is already well acquainted with its core character, Slenderman, the tall, faceless monster in a suit that can appear anytime, anywhere, and stalks anyone that catches sight of him, slowly driving them insane. What most don't know about MarbleHornets is that the web series was born in the same place and the same time as Slenderman himself. In June of 2009, users at a humor forum named Something Awful hosted a thread titled Create Paranormal Images. At the time, Troy, the main writer for MarbleHornets, was an active user, and stopped into the thread a few days after another user by the name of Victor Surge submitted 2 images of what he called the Slenderman. Users responded to Slenderman with enthusiasm. They created their own images with the new monster and wrote stories from the point of view of those who'd had close encounters. Troy wanted to contribute to the quickly growing mythology and realized no one had come up with any videos yet. He called his friend Joseph, and they planned a series of videos to present the Something Awful on 3x5-inch note cards over the course of nearly 9 hours together in a single night. On June 20th, Troy wrote a short story as his new character Jay, and posted it under his Something Awful username. In 2006, Jay had been helping his friend Alex Crayley on the set of his college film, MarbleHornets. As shooting took place over the summer, the crew complained about Alex's stressful attitude and irritable behavior, and he ultimately canceled the project, blaming unworkable conditions on set. When asked what he would do with the tapes, Alex replied, "Burn them." Jay hated to see all the work go to waste and convinced Alex to give him the tapes under the condition that he never mentioned them again. Alex transferred to another school soon after and hasn't been seen since. At the time, Jay felt too unnerved by the whole incident to look through the tapes and has only just remembered he has them. Troy posted the introduction video and first 2 entries on YouTube. Users on Something Awful responded positively, so Troy and Joseph kept going and involved their friends Tim and Brian. Troy created a Twitter account for the character of Jay, and, using YouTube videos and Twitter updates, the MarbleHornets crew began an online immersive experience that exceeded the initial videos and gained attention far beyond the scope of Something Awful. 5 years and 3 seasons later, the MarbleHornets team ended the series on a grand total of 9 hours, 24 minutes, and 56 seconds. In February of 2013, major motion film rights were purchased for an adaptation of MarbleHornets. Always Watching, a MarbleHornets story, was released online in video-on-demand format April 7th and in theaters on May 15th of 2015. As of this time, the MarbleHornets channel on YouTube has at least 412,350 subscribers and over 81 million views. So what exactly is MarbleHornets? What's happening to the characters behind the camera and why? Who was behind the enigmatic channel to the Ark? What exactly is the Ark? And why did they need to find it so badly? What did all the disturbing videos mean? And who is the operator? What exactly was going on inside of Alex's head? And why do all the characters involved in the story suffer such strange and horrifying circumstances? To take on this 9-hour monster, we'll tear through each individual season as quickly as possible and hit every beat along the way, stopping at each major point to illustrate what happened, what it meant, and how it related to other videos to provide understanding once and for all. Turn off all the lights, turn up the volume, and open your night mind. We're about to dig to the very depths of MarbleHornets and answer every last question that's plagued followers since its inception. This is Night Mind's inaugural series, Explained, MarbleHornets, Season 1. After creating the YouTube and Twitter accounts for MarbleHornets, Jay uploads an introduction video summarizing his original story. He promises to go through Alex's old tapes and upload anything interesting he finds. The first few entries reveal Alex slowly going insane behind the scenes of MarbleHornets. He's being stalked by a tall, faceless man in a suit that follows him everywhere. At home, while walking his dog, and on set with his actors no matter the time or place. He buys dozens of tapes to record himself so he can catch his stalker on video and suffers a fast mental decline, scratching out dozens of senseless drawings and obsessive fits, and displaying hostile personality changes around MarbleHornets crew members.
Good thing I didn't have anything to do later today, you know?
Why would you have anything to do anyway? You knew you were coming on set. You knew this could take a while.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an afternoon shoot, though.
You guys would do it right first
time. It was
time.
afternoon shoot. I didn't even buy lunch.
Let's just do it again.
Let's just do it again. Just stop.
Alright.
Did you not have it recording during the break? I told you to keep the camera recording at all times. I gave you one job. All you're supposed to do was come in here, set up the camera, make sure it doesn't fall over, and press record once. You don't stop it at all. I made this extremely clear. You know how many tapes we have. If we run out of time on this tape, we'll get another. It's not a problem. I mean, how clear do I have to make it before you listen? I mean, you brought your dog! How many sentences? Memorize your lines.
It's just a mistake.
Memorize your lines.
Most of these tapes contain heavy audio distortion, visual tears, and sudden jump cuts to new footage, especially in entry number 5, where Jay and Alex scout locations for MarbleHornets, but Alex's voice keeps turning to pure static.
What's that tall red thing over there?
Yeah, that's like an old climbing wall, or I can't remember if it was a climbing wall or if the fire department.
On Twitter, Jay experiences his own personality change, going several hours without eating and staying up all night to watch more tapes. He develops insomnia, loses track of time, and comes down with sporadic episodes of severe illness as he continues to watch, edit, and upload. Jay is deep in his investigation when an unexpected video response to one of his entries is uploaded by a user with no profile picture or channel info named THAC. The video is titled Regards, a series of flashing black and white images. MarbleHornets followers discover its encoded message. Look closely. Jay mentions THAC's video on Twitter and uploads entry number 10. Alex is running through the woods at night with a camera and flashlight, but there's no audio. THAC responds again with Operator, which has the missing audio from entry number 10 and a flashing code that spells out, Listen. This isn't lost on Jay, who hears it from his Twitter followers. His next tweet mentions that he'll be moving soon and will be without internet access until the 10th, once I'm completely moved in. But Jay's obsession with the tapes wins out over the need to pack, and he uploads entry number 11 on August 9th. Alex has turned his drawings into a collage above his bed and is filming himself sleep. He gets up after hearing a noise but finds nothing. After going back to bed, a shadow rolls over him and a breeze disturbs the drawings on the wall. Just past midnight the next day, Jay is feeling sick again, and THAC responds with a new video, Deluge. Speeding up the audio track to 150% reveals an actual voice. Pair this with the message at the end of the video and you have the phrase, Alex, watching you. Jay tweets that he's been sick for a week but finds entry number 12 and uploads footage of a MarbleHornets shoot. Alex is rehearsing a scene with Brian, his main actor, who we first saw in entry number 7 when the shoot was interrupted by the appearance of Alex's stalker, and this one ends exactly the same way. It's clear the footage is early in the recording timeline. Alex isn't afraid of the man, and he doesn't look familiar. Jay waits for THAC's response and gets it the next day. The stacking zeros at the beginning decode into the word 0. About 30 seconds in, the word operator fades in at the bottom of the screen and the wall of zeros at the end contain letters that spelled out, there was MRE. Use the first decoded message, 0, and put it in place of the missing letter to get, there was more. The next entry features Jay and Alex on set. The camera battery is running low, so Alex tells Jay to go get a spare from his car. Jay leaves and Alex wanders around before running into his stalker. Jay tweets that he went to the doctor recently and couldn't find anything wrong despite his illness and insomnia over the past 2 months. To the Ark responds to entry number 13 with exit. A flash of scrambled words fill the screen that spell out the operator when decoded. Next, we spot Jay going out to get Alex's spare battery during the previous entry. But if Alex was still on location waiting for Jay, who was filming? The person behind the camera asks, "Where is the Ark?" and leaves a message in the video description. "Remember me." Jay confirms it was him in the footage from Exit. It was 3 years ago, so my memory of entry number 13 is a little fuzzy, though I do remember going to get a battery out of Alex's car. Definitely never noticed anyone filming me do so. 2 days later, Jay suffers more insomnia and considers another doctor's appointment, but keeps going through the tapes. This is a good point to stop and take a closer look at Jay's new friend to the Ark. Without a doubt, the biggest mysteries in Marble Hornets surround this character and their channel, even after the end of the series. With these first few videos, we've got enough evidence mounting to start exploring their identity, purpose, and strange videos. Let's start with what most Marble Hornets followers already know. The Operator is Alex's stalker, known as Slenderman in all other media, and he has a very specific symbol we've seen on Alex's drawings and we'll be seeing a lot more in the series. Troy and Joseph renamed Slenderman for the series due to how their version worked as a monster.
You know, there weren't really a bunch of monsters out there like that, where it's just kind of a blank slate. Because at the time that Troy had the idea for doing video, it's like people had written a couple of stories, done some photoshops, but that was about it. So there was a lot of room to play with, and it gave us a lot of freedom with what we wanted to do with the Operator moving forward. Things we liked about up to that point, and gave us basically free license to add stuff like the video distortions, the memory loss, and stuff like that.
We wanted it to be different from the Slenderman. We didn't want it like just straight up like, cause we changed a bunch of things about the original and added a bunch of things to the original. So we were like, this has kind of become a thing that we made.
But yeah, the Operator was a name we came up with through the symbol usage and everything, and to the Ark channel we had Operator there as kind of a nod to, you know, the Operator getting into your head and making you act a fool.
The acting a fool.
As for the Operator symbol, what does it mean?
The circle through the X through it, which was there to symbolize, you know, no face, is actually a mathematical symbol called Operator.
The Operator is also the name for the number 0. Look at any old phone with a hard keypad and you'll see it for yourself. To the Ark is obsessed with the number 0 for this reason. It means operator. The operator button was and is still used to access a database or system actions menu through a phone and transfer a call between lines. Any and all references to the operator refer directly to Alex's stalker, and the name for it comes from To the Ark, who seems to have direct knowledge about this creature, which brings us to our first major note. To the Ark knows a lot about the operator, and seems to have been close enough to it for a long enough period of time to name it based on the way they discovered it works on its victims. Now, take into account the footage from To the Ark's exit video was shot by someone who knew Jay during the filming of Marble Hornets and told him to remember me. To the Ark also had the audio from entry number 10, a tape that, again, only Jay has had in his possession for 3 years. It's clear that whoever this is, they were very closely linked to the Marble Hornets crew, filming Jay from the woods without him knowing and somehow pulling the audio from one of Alex's tapes. Now, what about the whole Ark obsession? The only 2 instances in history of the word Ark with a K refer to biblical stories, the story of Noah's Ark in the Great Flood and the Ark of the Covenant. It's been hotly debated which Ark is being referred to, and without giving away too much from seasons 1 and 2 before we get there, the Ark metaphor in Marble Hornets comes from Noah's Ark, and we actually have enough evidence in season 1 alone to prove it. In the story of Noah's Ark, God comes to Noah to say that mankind has become overrun with sin, so he's going to bring a great flood to destroy humanity and start again, using Noah and his wife, the only people he deems pure. He will drown all the sinners by making it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and instructs Noah to build an ark so he and his family can survive the flood. He must then collect 2 of each animal to load on board so the earth can repopulate after all the unworthy are dead. A great flood is known as a deluge. That's the literal definition of the word. To the Ark's 3rd video is titled Deluge, and the video that immediately follows is titled Impurity, containing our very first shot of live-action footage from To the Ark, a rainstorm. To the Ark's next video, Exit, asks a question. Where is the Ark? The deluge is here, the rain is starting to fall, and the ones who are impure need an exit, an ark to survive the flood. Need more proof that THAC is seeking shelter from the rain? It comes after Jay's next video, entry 14, in which we see Alex's stalker sneaking into his room at night. He snaps awake and turns on the light, but nothing is there, so Alex closes the door and goes back to bed. Jay notes that 32 minutes pass on the tape before Alex changes it, and then... Jay decides to find out where Alex has gone and adds in the video description, beginning a search. THAC responds with program. As you can see, the entire live-action segment consists of more rainstorm footage. It's definitely coming down now. What about the codes though? Despite the message at the end being very clear, the codes from program stayed unbroken by MarbleHornets followers for 4 years. In October of 2013, a user on the Unfiction forums named Caffeinated Civet finally broke them. The program code involved a cipher key from THAC's next video and took 3 translations to get to the end message. End of medium, start of header, carriage return, and start of header. Now how do you apply this information to entry number 14? The key lies in the audio of program. Did you hear that? It's the sound of an old film projector or crank-operated movie camera at work. Consider that in the previous entry there are examples of odd behavior with the tape that Jay himself recognizes. Entry 14 raises the question, what happened between the 32 minutes of the camera focused on the door and that jump cut to Alex suddenly bleeding? The code from program gives us the answer. End of medium is completion of a videotape, the tape being the medium used to record what's going on. Start of header is the introduction of a new tape to the camera to start recording again. Carriage return is the full rewind of a tape to its starting point, and start of header again would mean that recording begins new. The tape of Alex's stalker slipping into the room and Alex closing the door ran for another 32 minutes and stopped because the tape was full. Alex put in a new tape, and along the line of recording, that tape was stopped, rewound to the very beginning, and all footage that occurred from the start of the new tape and the bleeding head footage was recorded over, leaving nothing at the start except for Alex looking injured. The footage of what happened to Alex that left him bleeding from the head isn't missing because he neglected to record it. It's missing because he did record it, stopped the tape, brought it back to the beginning, and recorded over from exactly this point to erase the footage in between. Alex hid what happened, and while Jay doesn't know that, THAC does, giving us the code to let us know what Alex did too and inviting him to bleed more. Whatever THAC's attitude is towards Jay, we know exactly how they feel about Alex, and have our first insight into understanding why. Did you also notice the symbol in the bottom left-hand corner? This is the word final position for the Greek letter sigma. A word final position or final form letter is the form a Greek letter takes at the end of a word. Except despite popular fan belief, this symbol might not actually mean sigma. There's also an extremely similar looking symbol that stands for stigma. Stigma, or stigmata, is a type of bleeding wound that makes the sufferer seem like they've experienced the same injuries Jesus Christ endured during the crucifixion. Remember this for later. Jay starts the search for Alex by arranging a meeting with Tim, one of the original MarbleHornets actors. Tim can't remember much about his time on set, but does have some interesting things to say.
Before we do the screen test, I wanted to ask you a few things about the production before now. You know,
Just like locations or something, because I think I remember there was a couple around here, but
more specifically the director, Alex Crayley, if you remember.
I don't really remember much. I mean, he was a friend of Brian's, so I didn't really talk to him that much. I mean, he just kind of asked me to be part of the cast for the sake of convenience.
Right. Okay. In terms of his directing at the time, how was he as a director?
He was a pretty decent director. Well, at first.
At first.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, he got to the point where, I mean, it seemed like after a while, he got to the point where he would be yelling at us more than he'd actually be filming the movie. So, and he'd just be really paranoid, waving his camera around all over the place. I mean, I just couldn't really.
His camera, other than the camera he was using to shoot the.
Yeah, he had a handheld that he was carrying around with him all over the place.
Okay. And
And
he
a
had,
ton of tapes too, like
right, he had all the
bags of
and-
tapes in the back of his car.
How many would you say you had?
Way more than necessary.
More than you would need to make a production like this?
Yeah.
Just for himself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Alex, I mean, I don't know if you knew this or not, but he did move away after he ended this production. Do you know what might have caused him to do that, or even where he might have gone to?
I didn't even know he moved away. I mean, obviously, like I said, Brian's the one that was really friends with him. I just kind of was along for the ride, but
Did you happen to know where Brian is?
I haven't heard from Brian either.
Okay.
Not for quite a while, actually.
Okay. So you wouldn't know what might have caused Alex to move away?
No. I know Brian did say something about, like, I think somebody was leaving dead animals in, like, his front yard or something. But
Like pets, or do you really know?
what do you mean pets?
Like cats or dogs or anything?
I don't think so.
Because, I mean, he did kind of live in a heavily wooded area.
I don't think it was anything like that, but, I mean, you have to ask Brian. I'm not really the...
Okay.
To the Ark replies with a new video titled Advocate. Translating the audio yields varying results. It's too distorted to completely clear up, but the codes in the video have been broken. At the beginning, we have the phrase tick-tock upside down, a clue for the code that flashes over Brian, a binary clock counting to 10. Immediately after it ends, the final form symbol for Sigma returns. In the video description, we have binary code for the number 7, the same entry this footage of Brian came from, right? Wrong. Run the footage from Advocate beside entry number 7, and you'll find they don't match. Wherever To The Ark got this footage, it didn't come from Jay's upload. To The Ark has some tapes of their own from the MarbleHornets set. Yet again, more evidence of how closely linked they were to the MarbleHornets crew at the time of filming. Jay doesn't mention To The Ark's response, returning to Twitter only to post the next entry. He's received an anonymous tip about where Brian is and finds an abandoned house with the back door unlocked. The house is trashed. Paper torn and thrown everywhere, the couch upturned, no sign of anyone living there for a while.
Alex! Brian!
Jay finds a closet with a makeshift bed inside and a bottle of water. Someone has been living here, but didn't want to be found. Upstairs, he suffers a sudden coughing fit and falls to his knees. The sickness he's been describing on Twitter is back. Before exiting the house, Jay finds a sink filled with dry blood. He spots a few bottles of pills on a nearby table, a bullet casing, and some of Alex's drawings, and grabs them all. To The Ark's response reveals who gave Jay the anonymous tip about Brian's house. Did you hear that audio playing as Jay was on the floor? Let's speed it up and listen again.
Alex! Brian! Alex! Brian! Alex! Brian! Alex! Brian!
Jay catches To The Ark's response and tweets, "To The Ark is mocking me." His next message comes October 29th. Been out of it all week, trying to look through more videos. Jay keeps searching over the weekend and delivers on November 2nd with entry number 17. Alex is running Tim through a scene, but Brian is a no-show, so Jay steps in. They go through the lines quickly before Alex cuts it short.
Do you know where Brian is?
I think he said he was just running down to the store for some snacks or something. He should be back any minute.
Okay.
Jay passes Tim a water bottle, and Alex comments that Jay is wearing a jacket inside.
It's pretty cold in here.
Comfortable.
I feel like you have the AC cranked up or something. You left the camera on.
Oh, well, we're going to go through it a couple more times anyway, but...
The picture stays frozen for the rest of the tape, but Jay has a larger concern. He doesn't remember any of this. He decides to return to Brian's house in the belief he missed something important, and he has. For nearly the entire shoot, the operator stood in the window behind Tim. 3 days later, THAC strikes again with a different kind of video, Signal.
Just wait till we're alone together, and I will tell you something new, something old, something sleepy, something of seasons and peace and the long, bright curve of space. Banish them, refuse to speak, leave them, go upstairs to your room. I will be waiting for you. I will surround your bed, close the windows. None will ever again be interrupted.
The footage is from Silent Snow, Secret Snow, a film from 1966, but the video has stereoscopic shading as if it was an old 3D movie. The end message is clear: come back, find me. Jay reconsiders a second trip to the house, but his followers argue and he tweets, "The general consensus is that I should go back to the house, so I'm trying to work out a day to go. Another doctor appointment soon." The next time we hear from him, it's nearly 11 in the morning 2 days later. Just got back, going to try and get some sleep, then I'll put the video on YouTube. Entry number 18 is uploaded that night. Jay tries the front door. It's locked, but the back door is wide open and the room looks twice as bad as before. Jay spots a strange doll in the hallway and goes to pick it up.
Alex? Alex?
Jay tries to remove the man's masks after he suffers a seizure, but gets thrown off and escapes the house. He wakes up in his car the next morning with a knife he brought along missing and no memory of the entire night. Jay immediately regrets getting involved in whatever's happening, but still waits for THAC's response. 2 weeks later, it appears. THAC's message is straightforward and the video description is just a period. The last sentence appears with a picture of Tim from entry number 15, telling him to smile for the camera. The footage is from the attack on Pearl Harbor, depicting boats sinking into the ocean. And the audio? Speed it up and you get another cut from the 1940s. In entry number 19, Jay mentions THAC's latest response and admits he's been recording himself, just like Alex did during MarbleHornets, but found nothing worth uploading until now. 2 nights after coming back from Brian's house in entry number 18, the masked man breaks into Jay's room and they both vanish. Jay comments that his room is empty for about 3 hours, after which he comes back and falls asleep instantly. He has no memory of getting up during the night. THAC responds to the surveillance footage with "return." Another clear message: found you, forever. The video description is 91, a reverse of 19, which stands for entry 19. This is where Jay vanished during the last entry. You can see he's wearing the same shirt in both videos, and Jay himself confirms it on Twitter. The response has to be during entry 19. I wasn't wearing those clothes the last time I was at the house. Jay takes stock of the evidence from his first visit to Brian's house. The pill bottle is now empty. It was full when he found it. The bullet casing is also gone. On the back of one of Alex's drawings, he finds a note: "At the tower." Jay uploads entry number 20 and mentions he doesn't remember any of it ever happening. Alex and Jay are filming behind-the-scenes footage for MarbleHornets.
So we're here on the set of MarbleHornets here at Brian's house. Brian is somewhere. I don't know where.
I wasn't paying attention. Were you?
No. We've been doing some script revisions for coming up here.
I've been supervising that because I'm the script supervisor.
Yes, Jay has been very helpful today. I'm very proud of him.
Tim shows up but brings audio distortion with him and complains about it being cold in June. They read some lines before Tim suffers a severe coughing fit and takes some medicine. Jay notices his pill bottle is very similar to the one he found in Brian's house and has connected the tower with the red structure from entry number 5 when he and Alex went location scouting. THAC confirms it with their latest response, version, showing the same tower and a code that breaks down the first letter of each word to "precedes trees," an anagram of deeper secrets, followed by the phrase "waiting for you" and a red X. The final message is in the video description, a lowercase s, the symbol for final form sigma we've seen in previous videos. In entry number 21, Jay explores the red tower and finds a metal case with a tape inside. The same night he uploads this, he tweets, "The footage on this tape is too much for me right now. I have to go to bed." The following afternoon, he continues, "I'll be posting the tape in its entirety later tonight. Don't want to upload the footage, but it needs to be somewhere in case something happens to the tape, or me." The tower tape reveals Alex leading his cameraman Seth around an abandoned building. Heavy audio and video distortion cuts through the footage constantly. Alex calls Seth over to a wall with dry blood, and it's not long before Alex spots more. He wants to leave immediately, and Seth follows until they hear a crash nearby. He goes to investigate and collapses to the sound of heavy distortion, followed by an image reminiscent of a face, and then Alex. Only Alex.
Seth is gone. I don't remember what happened. We were the only two left, and I left him. Brian is gone. Tim, Jay, and Sarah. Everyone is gone. I just woke up in this house with the tape. Seth's camera is gone. All I can remember from the night is right here. All I can remember at all is on the tape now. I'm leaving this house. I thought I would be safer here by running away, but everything's just gotten worse. I'm going back to my home, and I'm burning these tapes. All of them.
5 days pass before Jay picks up Twitter again. December 27, 2009. Still waiting to see if THAC does anything. A day later, Jay is still waiting. Not sure why THAC has been so quiet. I may be on my own for a while. More time passes and Jay is losing patience. Beginning to think the only choice I have is going back to the house. 4 days later, THAC replies with a video in the same style as messages. More black and white footage from World War II and just a period in the description. On Twitter, Jay immediately regrets looking for THAC's reply. "I don't like the fact that it says us in the video." 4 days later, Jay tweets, THAC responds twice. The new video shows color-burned footage of a person shuffling through Brian's house and entering a room before the video's distortion level destroys the image. The end message reads, "There are doors unopened." The video description is just the plus symbol. Jay gives in to the demands of THAC and his Twitter followers. Returning to the house yet again seems to be the only option, going in the daytime no matter what. Later, we find Jay hesitating. Beginning to lose track of days now, decided to return to the house Wednesday. His next tweet comes on Thursday morning. "How did I get here?" Entry number 23 is uploaded later that night. Jay did go back to the house, and in broad daylight. He leaves the door open behind him and finds the makeshift bed still inside the hall closet. Upstairs, he sees the white doll from last time and tries some doors, all locked. He checks the bathroom, and the blood in the sink is gone. Notice those pills on the table? Now we know where Jay's missing evidence went. The door to the hallway closes behind him, and when he opens it to chase the masked man, he's in another room, facing a mattress. Jay tries to leave again and succeeds, only to find it's now night and the front door is closed. He tries a few more doors and keeps ending up in exactly the wrong room. He's being portaled around the house. Jay runs to the bathroom and the door shuts behind him, followed by a moment of darkness as the flashlight fails and the audio distorts. When the flashlight comes back, Jay is inside the hallway closet downstairs. Another moment of darkness knocks out the flashlight, and when it turns on, Jay's in the abandoned building and the tape from the Red Tower. He searches for a way out before running into what Seth saw just before the video cut. Jay wakes up at his house the next day with his camera broken and no memory of the entire night. He has other cameras, but it doesn't matter. He's never going to the house again and quitting his investigation. February 3rd, 2010, Jay tweets, "I have felt completely functionless since quitting." Hours later, THAC responds. On February 8, 2010, Jay tweets, "I know that THAC responded. I just don't want to acknowledge it anymore." February 10th, "Considering boarding up my windows. Still feeling incredibly unsafe here." February 13th, "Looking through some surveillance footage. Not sure what I'll find. I feel like I just have to know one more time what's been going on." February 15th, entry number 24 will be posted later tonight. In the new entry, we see Jay working on his computer just before going to bed. In the middle of the night, he gets up, opens the door, and vanishes completely. Jay comments that 2 hours pass before he comes back, and it's not possible he left because the only door outside is blocked. Half a month passes with no activity. Jay tweets that he feels like he's being watched, but in checking the surveillance footage, he finds nothing unusual. The next entry is uploaded on March 5th, 2010.
We will wait for you no more. Control is being taken away from you. From the start, it's been a game for us. Not anymore. I'm coming for you, and you will lead me to the Ark.
Jay is quick to announce he didn't post the entry. Not sure what to think about it. Definitely considering getting out of here though. A week later, Jay is gone. Left town after the last tweet, staying at a hotel now. Things stay quiet until March 24th when Jay uploads footage of a news report about his apartment being set on fire. He goes silent for the rest of the month, only tweeting again when he receives a strange text from a private number on April 4th that reads 41810. On April 18th, Jay tweets, "If that text message I received a couple weeks ago was a date, it's today. Changed my location since then." Feeling more paranoid, the maid knocked on my door earlier and I almost had a heart attack. I think I'm going to leave again soon, just to be safe. Entry number 26 will be posted later tonight. Jay has been hotel jumping since his apartment burned down, and after a few weeks, he's had a revelation.
In fact, I haven't thought about it in the past week, and frankly, I've been feeling a lot better. My memory's better, I'm not as paranoid, I'm not looking over my shoulder all the time like I used to be. So I think that this is for the best. So this is going to be the last entry that I'll be posting.
Jay quits and plans to move far out of state, leaving it all behind, but the text message from April 4th comes almost immediately. General consensus on Twitter was that it had to be a date, April 18th, 2010, the day of this entry. Jay's about to leave the hotel when he finds a package outside his room with a tape inside. The tape opens with distorted video that includes driving footage, a shot of Alex, a view of someone wearing a skull mask, and Alex walking down a hallway before cutting to the real footage. Alex's girlfriend is recording him with a camera she just found in a closet and accuses him of lying because he said they didn't have a camera. Alex says he must have forgotten and tells her to put it back. She turns away just in time to spot the operator inside the house at the end of the hallway. Alex rushes her to the window and the tape cuts to a final message. The footage is dated April 4th, 2010, 2 weeks ago, the same day Jay received the mystery text. His final notes add that the package had a return address, and now that Jay knows Alex is alive, he's going to go find him. In case he hasn't heard from again, Jay says, "I thank you for the help." 7 months pass before Jay is heard from again on Twitter or YouTube, and when the new entry comes, it's a major update, as well as the beginning of Season 2 of Marble Hornets, which we'll be hitting next. Now, let's dive back into the footage from Season 1 and explore the who, what, and why of everything we've just seen. Did you notice just how often Jay got sick or couldn't sleep during Season 1? How about how frequently he lost his memory during trips to Brian's old house and while digging through Marble Hornets footage? In Season 1, Jay mentions being sick on Twitter 5 times, having serious difficulty sleeping or being exhausted 6 times, and has 2 doctor appointments that yield no results. He has issues with organization, mental clarity, and memory at least 4 times on Twitter alone, and mentions more issues remembering things clearly or at all when uploading tapes of his time on the Marble Hornets set. A lot of this occurs even before Jay goes to Brian's house. In addition to all this, we have moments on tape of Jay getting sick in the present.
Yeah, he had a handheld that he was carrying around with him all over the place.
Okay.
Jay's investigation is taking a major toll on his health, mentally and physically. If he'd been experiencing lifelong issues like these, he either wouldn't have mentioned these problems on Twitter because they were routine, or would have outright explained it in the same hour as announcing he was sick. It's only because this is abnormal and unexpected for Jay that he mentions them. With Alex's tapes, Jay is searching for one thing and only one thing: footage of the operator, or anything that suggests the operator is nearby during the tape. Jay is constantly exposed to the operator's image from the first few entries, and his health takes a major decline. The more footage he finds, the worse Jay gets. He skips meals, stays up late, develops serious bouts of illness, insomnia, and mental disruption. All leading up to the main event in entry number 19, when Jay's vanishing act brings him face to face with the operator in THAC's return video. But is this the first time Jay's been feeling this way?
Why are you wearing a jacket?
It's pretty cold in here.
I'm comfortable.
I feel like you have the AC cranked up or something.
On its own, these comments wouldn't be important if it weren't for the operator standing in the background the entire time, and another tape featuring Tim complaining about the same thing.
Why is it so cold in June?
And then coming down with a serious coughing fit in the hallway.
You alright, Tim? Need anything?
No, I'm okay.
What's that?
Which Jay has experience with on the first night at Brian's house. And while meeting up with Tim again for his interview.
Okay.
Just how often have we seen Jay alone with Alex on set, who was the prime target of the operator and became obsessed with capturing the monster's image? A lot, right? And now Jay's acting like Alex, recording himself, growing paranoid. He is drawn to finding images of the operator and keeps coming down with severe bouts of illness in the process. But evidence suggests this isn't the first time he's experienced it. He's felt the same odd chills as Tim on the MarbleHornets set, hung around Alex more than anyone, and has major events on tape missing from his memory. This kind of memory loss occurs in the present at Brian's old house, where we know the operator is hanging out for sure, and despite how bad things get each time Jay explores the house, he keeps going back. All of this, the sickness from the tapes, the memory loss, constant exposure to Alex during his issues, and the conscious and unconscious visits to Brian's abandoned home, brings us to another major note. Jay is heavily affected by the operator, just like Alex, and it started during MarbleHornets. He's drawn to images of the operator, which make him sick and deprive him of sleep, but his obsession only grows as a result. He ends up sleepwalking, teleporting, coming face to face with the monster not just once but twice, and both times has absolutely no memory of what happened. Let's also take into account that THAC has definitely been exposed to the operator for a long period of time, and was a MarbleHornets crew member who knew Jay. When THAC captured footage of Jay meeting the operator during the night of entry number 19, they recorded it themselves, uploaded it, and titled it Return. And it's not referring to Jay following their demand to return to Brian's house, because he had already just done that before this happened in entry number 18. This is Jay returning to the operator, an event characterized by memory loss, which happens during this night and the third night at Brian's house when he's transported to the place that disappeared on the Red Tower tape and meets the operator again. And it's happened a lot with Jay's tapes and memories of the MarbleHornets shoot. He's uploaded too much footage already of things he doesn't remember ever happening, and he'd been exposed to the operator right around the time of that footage, even if he didn't realize it. Jay's been infected from the start, and now his symptoms are flaring up. The real issue is that he has no memory of something like this or something like the operator ever happening, because we know an encounter with the operator causes instant memory loss, even if it's indirect contact. For Jay, this is the first time he's seeing it and feeling symptoms of any kind, so he can't detect a pattern based on bad experiences and defend himself. Loss of memory means he never had something to shield his mind against to begin with. Whatever the operator did to Jay during MarbleHornets, it's picking back up, and the infection is growing stronger. This is a good lead-in for our next question. What is THAC's motivation? On one hand, they help Jay by providing clues to what's happening with the footage, and even went out of their way to give Jay the Red Tower tape revealing something horrible happening to Seth while hanging around Alex. We also know from program that Alex is definitely hiding something, which THAC is trying to reveal. So why do they also seem to mock Jay in half their videos and set him up for dangerous situations? Do they want to help Jay or hurt him? Looking at THAC's videos from Season 1 more closely reveal that these don't seem to be coming from the same person. There are different approaches in videos, and multiple instances of themes. Live footage of rain, black and white footage, constant use of a single font, and then there are breaks in the patterns. Serious departures from any kind of pattern in videos like Warning stack up more evidence that this really isn't one person, or if it is, they're using very different types of videos for very different reasons. The puzzle box of THAC's channel begins to align as the series develops, and many aspects of just what is going on here cannot unfortunately be explained before we reach certain points in our review for seasons 2 and 3. Bear in mind that THAC may not be one person though, and again, if they are, they're using very different video approaches for specific reasons. And of course, don't forget how in the same season, videos from this channel were uploaded for purposes of helping, hurting, and then helping Jay again. Keep tabs on THAC's obsession with water imagery and Noah's Ark 2, which manages to sneak in through ways you may not catch at first. Remember how Jay and Tim both complained about feeling cold around the operator? The last bit of water imagery we catch from THAC in their videos comes from Signal, where the video is a clip from Silent Snow, Secret Snow. Snow is just cold rain. It's been raining for a few of THAC's clips now, and suddenly, it's becoming snow. Kind of like how when the operator gets too close, the air becomes colder. You might also catch that the code from the actual operator video spells out, "Lakes in stillness take every life of the night." Any sequence of words could have been used to deliver the code for listen we dissected from the capital letters. But THAC chose lakes and the threat of drowning? There's only one way a lake can take lives at night, and it's the same way a great flood would. Before we review our notes, let's take away one more important fact from Season 1 that the MarbleHornets writers really wanted to impress on us. Something is, and always has been, very wrong with Brian. It's Brian's abandoned house Jay goes to after the anonymous tip, where he finds the back doors unlocked and the place is trashed, as if there was a violent struggle. Upstairs, Jay finds blood in the sink and a lot of it, as well as a bullet casing and one of Alex's drawings. Alex's drawings in Brian's house? A bullet casing, blood in the sink, signs of a violent fight that led to an unlocked door and no sign of Brian sits. There's something seriously wrong here. Even in the old MarbleHornets footage, you can catch that something is going on. Brian seems to be missing at several key moments of filming, even during behind-the-scenes footage being shot in his own home, where this crew of college kids he only slightly knows is hanging out without him. In both tapes from the set that we see Brian, the shoot is interrupted by the appearance of the operator, in the car during entry number 7 and on the field during entry number 12. That's it. That's the only type of footage we have of Brian during MarbleHornets before several scenes take place without him, each time with a more flimsy and unbelievable excuse for why he isn't there. And speaking of Brian, it's time I make up that promise from earlier. Remember the appearance of the Sigma symbol in some of THAC's videos and how it might have meant stigmata instead? During behind-the-scenes footage from the MarbleHornets DVD set, Troy and Joseph admit that the symbol did in fact stand for stigmata, wounds on the body reminiscent of injuries suffered by Jesus Christ. They had written it into Season 1 as a plot point, but abandoned it at the beginning of Season 2, which they had never anticipated having to write. MarbleHornets had only been planned as far as Season 1, as in there was just one single storyline, and it ended with Jay's goodbye after the package tape. There had never actually been any plot points or progression set up beyond what we've just seen. No Season 2, 3, or extended story in mind at all until viewer reaction was good enough to warrant it. There are certain aspects of Season 1 that you won't see again, or will see very little of in future entries, like this whole stigmata plot, and I'll be sure to point them out when they appear. If you observe when the symbol comes up though, you'll catch why it was included in the original story before the concept was cut from development. The first stigmata sign appeared in program, a direct reply to the footage of Alex bleeding from the head. We already know what THAC was trying to say about the big secret behind this, but why also mention stigmata? Look at the way Alex is bleeding, the top of the hairline, beneath the hair, running in a circle around his head and trickling down. Unless he stabbed himself a few times in a pattern on purpose, there's no reason for him to have a wound like this. Unless he was trying to imitate Jesus Christ when the crown of thorns was placed on his head before crucifixion, making him bleed from the temple and down his face in a round pattern. Knowing how deeply THAC loves their biblical references, they would relate Alex's wounds to the crown of thorns and call it stigmata. But why put the stigmata sign on Advocate as well if the video is a direct link to Brian? Consider that the message of Advocate is a countdown, and in the first trip to Brian's abandoned home, Jay finds the back door unlocked leading to a room loaded with obvious signs of a violent struggle, a lot of dry blood in a sink upstairs, a spent bullet casing, and Alex's drawings, which, again, are the most out-of-place aspect in the entire entry. Whatever went down here, THAC knew it was going to happen, and it involved Alex. THAC showed Brian an advocate because they were acting as an advocate on Brian's behalf, letting Jay know that time was running out for something major about to happen. That something had to do with Alex, who is represented by the stigmata symbol. Remember, the pattern in Advocate is as follows. Tick-tock upside down, which means the reverse of its usual connotation, time going forward. Footage of Brian, a binary clock counting to 10, then the stigmata symbol appears, and the footage ends with us cutting away from Brian's face, making him disappear. Brian still might have been in his house when Advocate was uploaded, but then time ran out, the meaning behind the stigmata symbol's involvement occurred, and Brian was gone by the time Jay entered the house, only finding evidence that something happened, and now, Brian is nowhere to be found. THAC was trying to tell Jay that something horrible was about to happen to Brian, and even gave him an anonymous tip about where to find him, but Jay was too late. The event tied to Alex's disease already happened. So what exactly was it? What went down in Brian's house? The answer is a pretty major spoiler if you haven't already just figured it out, but if you weren't prepared to hear spoilers, you wouldn't be here to begin with, right? I'll give you a few seconds anyway to jump ahead, just in case. Ready? Okay. THAC was trying to warn Jay that Brian was in danger of being attacked by Alex, who is marked by stigmata. Tick-tock upside down with a binary clock over Brian's face meant time is running out for Brian, and the appearance of the stigmata symbol right after the countdown finished meant Alex was about to show up. Brian's face disappears from view in the Advocate video right after this, and just after his confrontation with Alex in the house, Brian is gone. Jay comes in, finds the place an absolute wreck because there was a violent struggle and there's a spent bullet casing upstairs. Someone fought for their life in this house, and judging by all the blood in the sink, they most likely lost. Alex's drawings nearby are extremely weird and do give away that he had something to do with whatever happened. But that's the point, isn't it? Someone put these here because Alex would never just leave them, and furthermore, the back of one of those drawings had another clue that led Jay to the Red Tower, where THAC left a videotape of Alex being extremely suspicious and led to Seth's disappearance. THAC knew Brian was in danger of being attacked by Alex. Alex showed up, attacked Brian, and for all we know may have succeeded in killing him. THAC left the drawings at the scene with a clue on the back for Jay to find something at the tower, and as Jay notes, the style of writing on the back is the same as it is on the front, which means Alex didn't make these, THAC did. And in version, the video confirming that Jay needed to go to the tower, THAC left an S in the description for stigma, which meant that deeper secrets were waiting for him at the tower regarding Alex, who we know THAC's been trying to expose as less than genuine since the program video. And yes, the tape from the tower definitely delivered deeper secrets about Alex and what was happening, so the stigmata symbol's inclusion in version does make sense. So, let's take a look at our major notes from Season 1 and see what we've discovered. Alex is hiding more than just the operator, and THAC knows it. THAC's program code revealed that we'll never find out exactly what happened that left Alex bleeding from the head in entry number 14. Not because Alex didn't record it, but because he destroyed the footage on purpose to cover up what he did. THAC is very closely linked to the MarbleHornets crew, has known the operator for a long time, and hates Alex. From missing audio on tapes to footage from the set that Jay doesn't have, THAC reveals just how close they were to the original crew. They also want Jay to remember them as they show secret footage of Jay during his time on set, and have known the operator long enough and closely enough to name it based on how it functions. In seeing footage of Alex they know too much about, THAC reveals with the program video that they know or knew Alex, and they don't like him, telling him to bleed more. They also make sure Jay gets a secret tape in the Red Tower that paints Alex in a very suspicious light after Seth disappears in a basement with dry blood on the walls. Alex has secrets, and THAC hates him enough to try exposing what they are. Jay has been affected by the operator, and it started during MarbleHornets. Far too much evidence has mounted that whether it's during the entry uploads or from the original set, Jay is clearly infected by the operator, and it keeps drawing him in for close personal encounters. It certainly indicated during Season 1 that this all started during MarbleHornets. Jay's memory issues from the set and videos of his symptoms are too compelling to ignore. We know meeting the operator after Brian's house leads to instant memory loss, and Jay's missing entire chunks of his time on set from MarbleHornets, which was plagued by the operator's presence. He hung around Alex too often and was present at too many operator-visited shoots to have gotten out clean. And finally, Brian is in trouble, and it's been going on for a while. Tim hasn't seen or heard from Brian in years, and when Jay goes to his house, it's abandoned and shows he disappeared after something violent went down. Blood in the sink, a spent bullet casing, furniture tossed around. Brian's in a bad shape, and his constant absence on set during MarbleHornets tells us whatever's going on didn't just begin happening. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for tonight. The moon is falling and the sun is coming back. There are aspects of Season 1 that need further explaining, but we have to wait for our visit to Season 2 next week before they can be safely discussed or make sense. Gotta have their proper context, right? In the meantime, head over to the MarbleHornets channel and catch up on Season 2 starting with entry number 27. You just might discover what we'll be covering next week before we sit down for a full review, and won't it feel nice for you to be ahead of the class? And of course, the MarbleHornets team absolutely deserves your views. Go watch the videos if you haven't already, give a thumbs up to each and every one, and hit the subscribe button for good measure. This web series is every bit an accomplishment as it is a phenomenon, and my explanations are no substitute for the real MarbleHornets experience. If you enjoyed this review and I helped clear up some questions, feel free to like this video and leave a comment, as well as subscribe to the Nightmind channel so you'll catch the next 2 videos the moment they're uploaded. Your support is extremely appreciated. Thanks for joining me in the dark this evening and giving into your Nightmind. I'm Nick Nocturne, and just like the operator, we'll be meeting again real soon. Sleep tight.